Good morning, students. Today's topic is short run equilibrium output. So what is short run? Short run is defined as a period of time during which technology plays no role in the determination of output. Output is determined exclusively by the level of employment in the economy. Means there is direct relation between employment and output. With the increase in employment, output will also increase, and with decrease in employment, output will also decrease. So the level of employment in an economy measures the level of output in the economy. So accordingly, output cannot increase once there is full employment in the economy. So next is the concept of equilibrium output. As we know, equilibrium output refers to that level of output where aggregate supply is equal to aggregate demand. And as we know, aggregate supply refers to the desired level of output in the economy. It is that level of output that the producer wants to produce. And aggregate demand, on the other hand, refers to that level of GDP that the buyer wish to buy during an accounting year. So the level of equilibrium, the equilibrium GDP means that level of GDP where what the producer wish to produce is exactly equal to the buyer wish to buy during an accounting year. So aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply in case of equilibrium output. So but we know that aggregate supply is equal to income level, as we have already discussed in the previous chapters. So income is equal to aggregate demand. But alternative approach of equilibrium is struck when savings are equal to investment. So because we know that income is equal to aggregate demand, and income is also equals to consumption plus saving, because either the person will consume or save, and the sum total of consumption and saving is equal to income. So Y is equal to consumption plus saving. And as discussed in the previous chapter, in case of closed economy with two sector, aggregate demand is equal to consumption expenditure and investment expenditure. So aggregate demand is equal to consumption plus investment. So consumption plus saving divided by income is equal to consumption plus investment divided by aggregate demand. So equilibrium is struck. So equilibrium is struck when saving is equal to investment. So when we solve both these equations, saving is always equal to investment. So now determination of equilibrium output or equilibrium income. So we have two approaches. One is aggregate supply and aggregate demand approach, and second one is saving is equal to investment approach. So we will discuss how equilibrium is determined using each of these two approaches. So firstly we will discuss aggregate supply is equal to aggregate demand approach. So according to this approach, equilibrium GDP is achieved when aggregate supply is equal to aggregate demand. So aggregate supply refers to the planned output in the economy as described in the chapter earlier. Aggregate supply is indicated by a 45-degree line from the origin. The 45-degree line indicates that aggregate supply and GDP are identical to each other. It is an economy with excess capacity where aggregate supply will respond proportionally to aggregate demand and price remains unaffected. So when the income level, according to figure 1, when the income was 30, aggregate supply was also 30, and when income increases to 50, aggregate supply also increases to 50. So next is aggregate demand. Aggregate demand refers to desired expenditure in the economy during an accounting year. As we know, aggregate demand has two components: desired consumption expenditure and desired investment expenditure. And investment expenditure is assumed to be autonomous, so that it is not affected by the level of income. And desired consumption expenditure is related to the level of income, means there is positive relation between income and consumption. With the increase in income, the consumption will also increase, and with decrease in income, consumption will also decrease. But there will be minimum expenditure when the income level is 0, because for the survival an individual will either borrow from outside or will use his past savings. So based on the above, investment function, consumption function, and combined consumption and investment function are drawn in figure 2 and 3. So in figure 2, investment function is given, which is autonomous, means it remains constant at all level of income. It will not be affected by level of income. But in figure 3, consumption function is given. The consumption line starts from 30, representing that when the income level is 0, the consumption expenditure is 30, means for the survival the individual will either borrow from outside or will use his past saving. So initially the consumption was more than income, implying negative savings. But after some times, with the increase in income, his consumption is also increasing, but rate of increase in income is more than that of rate of increase in consumption. So the point at which both will intersect is a equilibrium situation. Next is equilibrium GDP or equilibrium income. So through table 1, equilibrium situation can be explained. So income level is given, also the consumption expenditure and investment expenditure is given, and we know that income is equal to aggregate demand. So when income is 0, consumption in expenditure will be 30, and investment expenditure remains same at all levels of income, implying autonomous investment. So when income is 0, consumption expenditure is 30 and investment expenditure is 20, but the total expenditure is 50. And when the income level is 20, consumption increases to 40, but investment expenditure remains 20. So total expenditure is 60. So when the income is 80, consumption expenditure increases to 70 and investment expenditure remains 20, and aggregate demand is equal to 90. And when the income increases to 100, then the consumption expenditure is 80 and investment expenditure is 20, but the aggregate demand is equal to 100. So here the income is equal to aggregate demand, so it is a situation of equilibrium. So when figure 5 shows the graphical representation of table 1, Aggregate demand starts from 50, implying when the income level is 0, there is total expenditure of 50. So AD line intersects the aggregate supply line at point E. So E is the point of equilibrium where aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply, and OL is the equilibrium GDP in the economy. So at point E, what the producer wish to produce is exactly equal to the household wish to buy in the economy, or the desired expenditure on output is equal to desired level of output, that is 100. So all the output as planned by the producer is purchased by the buyer in the economy. So there is no unwanted or undesired stock with the producer. So it is a point of equilibrium in case of aggregate supply is equal to aggregate demand approach. So what will happen when aggregate supply is greater than aggregate demand? So when aggregate supply is greater than aggregate demand in the economy, there is a situation of excess supply. So when there is excess supply, the goods would remain unsold. So to clear unwanted stock, the producer will plan to cut the production capacity. So consequently, aggregate supply will reduce to become equal to aggregate demand. This is how aggregate supply adjusts itself to aggregate demand. And in a situation when aggregate demand is greater than aggregate supply, when aggregate demand for commodities is greater than its supply, it is a situation of greater excess demand. So the existing stock of the producer would be sold out, and the producer will suffer the loss of unfulfilled demand. So to fulfill the unfulfilled demand, he will produce more of the commodities. So the producer will plan greater production capacities. So aggregate supply will increase to become equal to aggregate demand. So this is how aggregate supply will react when aggregate demand is greater than aggregate supply. And the next topic is saving and investment approach and equilibrium GDP. So according to this approach, equilibrium GDP is achieved when savings are equal to investment. So saving function, as we know, saving is function of income, means saving is positively related to income. However, at the lower level of income, savings can be negative, because at lower level income, consumption may be greater than Y. So S becomes negative to the extent consumption is greater than income. And investment function is so here in this we will consider only autonomous investments. It is independent of level of income, means whatever be the level of income, autonomous investment remains same. So a horizontal line parallel to x-axis will be formed. So equilibrium in case of saving and investment approach is struck when savings are equal to investment. So table 2 clearly shows the equilibrium stage in term of equality between S and I. So here income is given and consumption, saving and investments are given. So at when income is 0, consumption is 30, representing the person will either borrow or use his past savings, but savings are here negative. And investment being autonomous investment, it will remain same at each level of income. So it will be 20 whatever be the level of income. So when income increases to 20, consumption increases to 40, because we know that consumptions are directly related to income. Higher the income, higher will be the consumption. So with increase in income, consumption also increases. But now saving is minus 20, means still negative savings. And when income is 60, consumption is also 60. So savings is equal to 10. But when income increases to 100, consumption is 80. Because we know that the change in income will not be equal to the change in consumption will not be equal to change in income. It is always less than. Change in consumption will always be less than change in income. So when income is 100, consumption is 80. So savings are 20, and we know that our autonomous investment remains 20. So at the income level of 100, savings are equal to investment. So it is a point of equilibrium. So equilibrium will be struck at equilibrium will be struck at when the income was 100. So savings and investment equal to rupees 20 crore. So when when we plot the above table on a graph paper, so E is the point of equilibrium when savings are equal to investment. So OT is the equilibrium GDP, that is 100 crore. So now planned expenditure on output is equal to planned expenditure on output is equal to planned output in the economy, even when entire income of the household is not converted into expenditure, because loss of expenditure by way of saving is equally compensated by the gain of expenditure by way of investment. Next is, what will happen when savings are greater than investment? So in case savings are greater than investment, it is a situation when fall in expenditure through saving is more than the rise in expenditure through investment. So aggregate expenditure in the economy will be less than what is needed to buy the planned output. So some output will remain unsold, and producer will have undesired stock. To clear their stock, the producer will now plan lesser output, and lesser output means lesser income, and lesser income means less amount of saving. So the process will continue till savings are equal to investment. So the equality between saving and investment is resorted through change in the level of income. And the next is, what will happen in case investment expenditure is greater than savings. So it is a situation when a fall in expenditure through saving is less than the rise in expenditure through investment. So accordingly, aggregate expenditure in the economy would be greater than what is required to buy the planned output. It is a situation of higher aggregate demand than aggregate supply. Now the producer will suffer the loss due to unfulfilled demand. So this will encourage the producer to plan higher output, and higher output will mean higher income, and higher income means higher saving. So the process will continue till savings are equal to investment. Here again, the equality between saving and investment is resorted through change in the level of income. So this is the approach of savings and investment. The next topic is investment multiplier. So we know that additional investment causes additional output in the economy, but we have noted that the increase in output is much more than the increase in investment. So the factor by which the increase in income is greater than the increase in investment is termed as investment multiplier. So investment multiplier is measured as the ratio between increase in output and increase in investment. So here in this example, if investment increases by rupees 15 crore and as a consequence income increased by 60 crore, it implies that increase in income is 4 times the increase in investment. So the multiplier will be change in income divided by change in investment. So due to increase in investment, how much more the income level has increased? So 60 divided by 15 is equal to 4. So the multiplier will be 4. So the relation between multiplier and marginal propensity to consume is direct relation, because higher the value of MPC, higher will be the multiplier, or lower the MPC and lower will be the multiplier. So the multiplier is often estimated with reference to MPC, and the formula to calculate multiplier is 1 divided by 1 minus MPC. This is the multiplier mechanism. So multiplier mechanism, it is based on the assumption that marginal propensity to consume is 0.5, means whatever a person earns, he invests only 50% of his income. So in the round 1, when increase in investment is 100, so with an increase in investment by 100, the income will also increase by 100. So out of this income, 50% was saved and 50% was invested. So consumption expenditure is 50 and savings are also 50. So when the consumption expenditure of one person is the income of second person, and here in second round income is 50. So out of 50 he saves 25 and invests 25, means consume 25. So now here in round third, the consumption expenditure of round 1 is 25. So it becomes the income for another person in round 3. So out of the income of 25, person saves 12.50 crore and his consumption expenditure is also 12.50, because we assume that marginal propensity to consume is 0.5. So this will continue, the stage will continue till the induced change in consumption and savings will be equal to increase in investment. So this is how multiplier works. So next is forward action and backward action. Forward action means when there is multiple increase in the income caused by increase in investment, means with increase in investment the income level will also increase many more times. And backward action means with decrease in investment the income level will decrease by many more times. So multiplier can work for the economy and it can also work against the company. So this is the concept of multiplier. So thank you students.